Welcome to Yoga with Caroline. Today we're going to be doing some standing shapes and stretches to create some space in our body and for our breath. So if you'd like to join me, beginning to find your feet about hip distance apart. And you'll notice I've taken my shoes and my socks off. However, you may prefer to keep them on. I've got my big toes roughly under my hip bones. And then I'm going to begin to roll my shoulders up, back and down, standing in a tall mountain shape. And we often hold tension and tightness in our jaw area, especially if we snore or grind our teeth overnight. So perhaps you begin to massage your jaw area using your fingertips or your knuckles and just applying some little circular movements. A little bit of pressure here to release through your jaw area. And eventually releasing when you're ready. Sealing your lips and breathing in and out through your nose. And we want to try and breathe in and out through our nose because it's the most efficient way to breathe. Our nose does a lot for our inhalation. So when we breathe in, the nose kind of filters and warms and moistens our breath, all ready for when it reaches the lungs. And perhaps you can begin to feel into your breath, feeling how your rib cage, the base here particularly, expands as you breathe in and shrinks back as you breathe out. And if it's helpful to guide your breath, maybe you take your hands to the base of your rib cage here. Taking a few more breaths here, breathing in rib cage expansion. Breathing out, feeling how your rib cage shrinks back. Resting your arms, your hands when you feel ready. Now we'll begin to take some gentle, soft stretches. So if we can, we're going to have a soft bend in our knees, and we're going to begin to gently roll or lean towards the right-hand side. See how that feels for you. That might be strong enough for you, or maybe you begin to reach up and over with your right hand. Slowly, gently coming back to center and over to the second side. So as we come through the stretches and the movements, we can take a moment to see how we feel. Is this enough? Perhaps we bring the left hand up and over if that feels okay. But knowing that you can rest, you can pause, you can stop at any time. Slowly, if you haven't already, coming back to center. I want to take the arms out into a cactus shape. So what we can do is bring the arms out, cactus shape, maybe even lean back and look up towards the sky if that feels okay for your head, neck and shoulders. And then gently release. And we're going to take that 3 more times. If you'd like to, you can begin to think about integrating your breath. So you could breathe in, open up. Breathing out, gently releasing. Breathing in, opening up. And breathing out, releasing. One final time if you'd like to, breathing in, opening up. And breathing out, gently releasing. Pausing here for a moment. Check in with your breath. So we want to try and make sure we are breathing really softly and fluidly. Sometimes when we concentrate on a movement or a shape or a stretch, we hold our breath. So if you can, encouraging your breath to flow in and out through your nose. And we can begin to take a really soft, gentle twist. So I'm going to begin to turn towards my right hand side, and you'll notice my feet haven't moved. I'm twisting, perhaps even taking the gaze, looking over your right shoulder. When you feel ready, coming back to centre and over to the second side. Eventually back to centre. And then we could take a head and neck stretch if we'd like to. So we could begin to clasp our hands, placing the hands behind the back of our head, elbows gently coming in towards the temples, and then slowly guiding your chin towards your chest. If you want a stronger sensation here, you could begin to gently push the chin towards your chest, but at the same time, the back of your head is resisting. Eventually, slowly releasing your hands, bringing your head back to center. Breathing fluidly, gently in and out through your nose. And we're going to begin to explore a little bit of movement through the feet. So perhaps you begin to rock onto toes a little bit more and then back onto heels. So what we're trying to do here, it's almost like we're trying to give the soles of the feet a bit of a massage. If you're wearing shoes and socks, the same thing applies. However, it's just beginning to explore how we balance through the feet. If you find it a little tough to balance, some days I do, just pop your hands out to the side here to help you balance, or maybe your hands simply resting. So I'm just beginning to rock sideways and then forwards, perhaps even taking some circling movements here, lifting your toes if that feels possible for you. And if you're taking the circling movements, perhaps you change direction. Eventually coming back to center, pausing. And then if you'd like to, coming onto tiptoes. So now I'm coming all the way up and gently releasing my heels down. So exploring balance here is really helpful if you can find something that's not moving ahead of you to gently and softly focus on. We call this a drishti point in yoga, a gaze point. So if you can find something still to look at, that might help you balance. And just doing whatever you can here if it feels okay to practice this. You could begin to integrate your arms. So as you come up, you could take the arms up, out, wherever feels good for you. And then you could gently drop the heels and allow the arms to come back down. One other option as well could be to breathe in as you reach up and breathe out as you reach down. And the arms can reach as high or as low as you'd like to if you're integrating your arms here. So we'll take 2 to 4 more rounds here. Arms can get a little bit tired lifting up and working down, so maybe your arms just rest for a few rounds. And then eventually we can come into stillness, pausing here. And hopefully you may even just have a little bit of a sense of being a little bit more in contact with the floor beneath you. We're just waking up our feet so that we can take a very small balance and find some more yoga shapes. So if you'd like to join me, we need to have some space to step back onto. So I'm coming to one end so I can step my right foot back. I'm going to stand tall in mountain shape here. Soft fingers, soft shoulders, but I'm still standing tall. And what I could do here is begin to bend my right knee, coming onto the big toe of the right foot, pausing there for a moment. So I've already shifted the weight a little into my left foot. And then if you'd like to, if you feel like to, you could lift your right foot up a little or a bit more. And you can decide whether or not you want to give the knee a little bit of a hug. If you feel well balanced, you've got your gaze point ahead of you, hopefully. Or maybe your arms come out towards the sides of the body to help you balance. And then check that you're still breathing in and out through your nose. And then we're going to step the right foot back. So I'm going to step my right foot back into what we call warrior one. My right toes are pointing out a little towards the side. My left knee's above my left ankle, and that's just so the knee doesn't have to do too much work. So it'd be really helpful here to have the knee above the ankle. From here, you can decide whether you'd like to use your arms in this shape. So classic warrior is the hands reaching up. The hands can reach wherever you feel you would like to take them. So sometimes I like to take my arms wide, sometimes my hands come together. Take your time to find the shape and the variation here that works for your shoulders and your body. Knowing you're welcome to rest your hands at any time, we're going to begin to turn towards our right hand side and come into warrior two. I'm going to gently open up a little bit more through the foot. Makes it a little bit easier to be in this shape. My gaze is over my left hand and my arms are about shoulder height. So I'm going to have a quick look at my back hand. It's dropping, so I'm going to slowly bring it up. From here, I'm going to gently drop my arms. I'm going to gently lean over onto my left leg. So my elbow here is resting on the leg, but I haven't completely collapsed into it. It's just lightly in contact, and I've got lots of space in my upper body. Maybe then you bring your right arm up towards the sky. From here, we can gently come all the way up to standing and gently lean back. So my right hand is slid down my right leg, and I can look up towards my left hand. Peaceful warrior. From here, I'm going to begin to breathe in and coming up to standing. I'm going to step this right foot or twist it gently so I come into a lunge. I'm on the big or the toes of my back foot, so my right heel is lifted up. And I've still got my left knee above my left ankle, so the knee doesn't have to do too much work. So I'm in a lunge here, and then we're going to begin to find our right foot stepping forward. So I'm putting my hands on my hips to help me guide, stepping forwards, and I'm back to my Tadasana and to my mountain. So we're going to take that to the side. I'm just going to change sides in case it's helpful for you to be able to see me. I'm starting with my feet about hip distance apart because that's really helpful for the balance. So hip distance, we've got these frontal hip bones. Our big toes are almost aligned there. Toes are pointing forwards just as we were when we began our session today. We're standing tall into mountain. When you're ready, maybe you shift your weight a little bit into your right foot and then you come onto your left big toe. So this might be where you pause, you rest, just deciding here if this feels best for you. And then perhaps you begin to lift your left knee a little higher up. Maybe you draw it in for a hug. Perhaps you prefer to take your hands out to the sides of the body to help you balance. Just check that you're still breathing. So that's the most important thing. We want to check we're not holding our breath when we come to a balance. From here, we're going to step the left foot back. Left foot gently drops back. I've got my right knee above my right ankle, and my left foot's turned out a little bit. And your stance could be longer, it could be shorter. There isn't a wrong or a right in any of these shapes. Just check you feel supported, you feel grounded, your body feels okay here. And then if you'd like to, you could either reach up or reach out. Find the shape for your warrior one here. We're going to begin to slowly turn towards the left-hand side. So as you're continuing, we're going to take the arms at shoulder height. You might find it's helpful to take the left foot out a little bit further, and our gaze is over our right hand. And begin to rest the arms just for a moment here as we lean over the right leg. So my elbows come to the leg. I'm trying not to have any weight in the arm, so that this leg has to work a little bit harder. My left shoulder's dropping back, and then I can decide if I want to take my left hand to the hip or perhaps reach up towards the sky. From here, I'm going to begin to find my way up to standing, and then I can gently slide the left hand down the leg, right hand, right arm comes up, We've come into a peaceful warrior here. Breathing in, if that's possible, as you come all the way up. And then we're going to come into the lunge position. So I'm going to pivot on this back foot. I'm on my toes here. I've still got my right knee above my right ankle. And that's just so the knee feels safe. Really good place for it to be strong. It's not having to do too much work. And perhaps you bring your hands to your hips here. When you're ready, stepping your left foot forwards. We're back into our Tadasana, pausing here and resting for a moment. So as best you can, breathing in and out through your nose. Perhaps you rethink your diaphragmatic breath. So if you think it's helpful, breathing into the base of your rib cage expanding, breathing out, feeling how your rib cage shrinks back. So it's this movement that tells us we're breathing really well, we're optimizing our oxygen uptake, which basically means we're getting as much oxygen as we need into the body and into the cells. Resting your arms, your hands when you feel ready. And you might like to take this moment here to pause. You could bring your hands across at heart center if you'd like to. Just a moment to thank yourself for taking this time to stretch out, to practice some yoga. Thank you for joining me.